Hello and welcome to NARC Live on Wednesday the 13th of August 2025, coming to you live from Norfolk on the east coast of England with Tammy M0TC.
Hello.
And me, Davey G7RP. Lovely to see you. On tonight's show, we meet an accidental contester, Bill W5SJ, coming up later. Find out how last week's guest inspired one of our members to give this a go. And we find out what on earth this is or what it's for. But first, I'm very sorry to bring you some sad news that one of our members has passed away. Nev Young, M0NFY, passed away yesterday morning. Some of you know that Nev has not been well for some time. He took and passed all 3 of his licence levels within a year, which was an astounding feat. Like many other things, rather than buy something, he would always like to make something. He was an avid constructor. He was also an active member of our fox hunt direction finding competitions. In fact, he once told me, and I think that picture there on the left is a picture of him at one of those fox hunts. And he once told me that it was his favourite part of the hobby. And he certainly inspired many of his friends to give that a go as well. You may recall that we helped Nev have a clearance sale a month or so ago. Well, what I didn't make clear to everybody is his reasoning for wanting to do it, and why he asked Nick and I to help him was because he knew he was very ill and probably didn't have too long left, and he wanted to not leave any problems at all for his partner Lorna, and that's one of the main reasons he wanted to clear everything and sort his affairs out and not leave her with lots of things around the house and in the garage and things like that. So that was the mark of the man: kind, caring and considerate, and always wanting and welcome to help others. Our thoughts and prayers are with both Lorna and all of his family and friends. Nev M0NFY, now sadly silent key. Sad news indeed. Now we'll move on to club news, and the big news for us, the next event, the big event that the club has organised, is this weekend. It's GB0HL, Haysborough Lighthouse, on the air this weekend. It's part of course, International Lighthouses and Lightships Weekend, an international event where amateur radio clubs all over the globe get together and make up stations, to special event stations, to run on this special weekend. We've adopted Haysborough, or Haysborough adopted us, for quite some years now, and we're looking forward to a very good day there. Malcolm G3PDH and Kevin M0UJD are the main organisers, and they'll be there from first thing on Saturday setting up and through until Sunday evening. Now, all the details have been on the last few newsletters. They're on the website now. There's also a link where you can actually put your details on if you want to work on a particular time slot. Now, I want to just cover again, because there may have been a bit of confusion, that we are there pretty much on our own on the Saturday all day, but the Sunday is a public event. It's that the lighthouse is open to the public that day, and that must take precedence. They're going to be, there's a lot of people going to be queuing up all day to go up to the top of the lighthouse and things like that, and they pay the lighthouse, and this is very, very important for them because it's one of the few ways that the main ways that they raise money. Now we're planning to have an HF station for both those days, but we have had interest from Mike M7TTT to run some VHF, so we think we might be able to do that at least on the Saturday. So if you've got any interest in that as well, Mike has already entered his name onto that roster, but you, by all means, you're welcome to do that. But on the Sunday, as I said, it's mainly going to be HF, headphones, probably CW, just because the acoustics you just can't do much else from there. So hopefully you will take part in it. Go along and say hello. If you don't feel like putting your name down on the roster, that's absolutely fine. But this is a really important event, and it gets the club and the hobby known out there to the public as well. So more details again on the website right now, and will be on another newsletter this weekend. Now, also coming up, I think we've got a slide now with some of these pictures. I think Tammy's desperately trying to change a battery in a microphone. You remember last week we had a problem with the microphones and we thought we'd resolve them, but maybe not. So Tammy, I don't know if we could just show you quickly that slide, and I'll talk you through some of these other things. We did talk about them last week. These are the sorts of things that are happening in the next few weeks. So this weekend, as I said, Lighthouse is on the air. Saturday the 30th of August, it's a silent key sale again for Paul G3 SEM. The remainder of all of his equipment will be on sale. Around about a week before that, I'll be issuing a full list with all the equipment, but there'll be an open day to sell a lot of the equipment if it's not pre-sold on Saturday the 30th of August, but I will be issuing a list of most of the products then. Now, the Newark Hamfest coach trip, I've been talking about this for weeks and weeks now. I'm glad to say that we passed the 26 mark. In fact, we've got 27 currently booked on that trip now, as firm confirmed, which means that we can't no longer fit on a 26-seater coach, so we've upgraded to a larger coach. So now we have a 49-seater coach, which gives people a lot more space as well inside. And of course, it does mean as well we have a lot more seats available for you as well. So please, if you haven't already booked, please do book. We do need you to book about a week before that. So let me see, that's probably about this time next week, a bit later, at the end of next week, I will stop being able to supply wristbands because I need to get those sent over to me before that weekend. So that'll be about a week before. So don't leave it too long if you want a wristband. I may well be able to sell coach tickets alone then, but you'll be on your own when you get there. You'll need to just queue up and buy a wristband or a ticket. Are you on the air now, Tammy?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, I am.
All right. Now, Radio by the Seaside. Again, it's a moved event because of the weather a few weeks ago when it was meant to be. So Sunday the 7th of September, in our usual place. Of course, I'll write to you nearer the time, and it will be on the newsletter and on the website. And then finally, the Friendly Fox Hunt at Thorpe Recreation Ground is on Sunday the 28th of September. Just a lot more of the summer events that are happening with Norfolk Amateur Radio Club. There's one other thing that I'd like to mention, not really a summer event. I did mention last week, I haven't had anybody come forward, but Dickleborough Sea Scouts would like to run a Jamboree on the Air event on the third weekend of October, which is the 17th to the 19th. Now they need one or two radio amateurs to help them put a station on and to introduce youngsters to this hobby. They've approached us as a club, can we help them do this? I know lots of you are already involved with scout groups, and that's understandable that you can't help with this. But please, if you ever wanted to help and inspire young people into this hobby, this is a really, really good way of doing it. JOTA, or Jamboree on the Air as it's called. So please just drop me a note and we can talk about it. And if you feel comfortable with doing it, we'll be able to, of course, help with equipment as well. This is the address to write to, of course, always, radio@dcpmicro.com. Now, from club news on to members news. I'm really pleased to say we've had a lot this week, really have, which is brilliant. So first up is Tom, G8XQD, who was inspired by last week's end-fed half-wave antenna talk by Ward Silver, N0AX. Tom decided to try his ideas out and was pleased and surprised by the results. The balun which he made used 12 strands of 0.2mm 32 AWG wire onto PTFE insulation. I don't know, Tammy, can we just skip forward to that picture? Sorry about that.
Yep.
We did.
Is that one?
That one there. That's what he made. So you can see that there. The ferrite is a brown T200 bought at Kings Lynn Radio Rally. PVC coated zinc plated chain link fencing wire at 5.4 meters long for the covert antenna suspended on large screw-in eyes with a Komodo dragon on guard. It says. So let's have a look at that picture. Sorry, Tammy, we should have. There we are. There it is. There. Should have. We didn't have time for a full rehearsal tonight, and that just showed, doesn't it? It amazed Tom that this tuned across all bands from 10 meters to 160 meters. With an SWR close to 1-to-1 with his ancient Yaesu FC902 ATU. Note, by the way, he says that he has a pre-existing underground ground plane and a coax choke. He had QSOs with 100 watts from his FT710 on 40 meters and 60 meters, which were favourable. His signal on 60 meters went from 5 and 8 to 5 and 9 plus 20 when he returned to his existing 43 43 metre long wire. Obviously the height at 2 metres versus 10 metres was a major part of this improvement. So great to hear. Thank you for sharing all those pictures, Tom, and your news. And great to hear that a talk inspired you to do all of that in the last few days as well. That was from last week. If you did miss it, you'll be able to watch it and catch it up on our YouTube channel. Now, news from James, M0ZAH, who gives us details of a TeamWave 6 metre repeater. Now, this was on the newsletter and will go on the next newsletter as well, because frankly, it's easier to put it as a link on a newsletter, which you can just click on. But there we are. You can see that it's been a while coming, it says, but the 6 metre repeater to be sited at Wyndham is another step forward to becoming a reality, because he finally ordered the filters needed for that. Quite eye-watering cost as well. And he thanks everybody who's already supported that. But I guess he'd still be looking for other people to support. But full details on TeamWave's website. There we are. There's the details. And this morning I heard from Richard M6UES, who found an exciting project to build a Raspberry Pi ham radio transmitter. Again, this is not something really easily to talk about online. I think we have a picture here. This is the sort of thing you'll see if you go to this. There is the address there. But we'll also, again, be putting this on the newsletter, so very much easier to click on it and go. Thank you, Richard, for that. And finally, well, I'm not quite sure how to title this, really. This is something that Donard's brother sent him, M0KRK. He sent in this picture. I have no other comments. Don't know what to say about it, except that maybe, was there a little bit of crackling on the radio?
That's not very nice.
No, it isn't. Sorry, Tammy. Vegetarian. Sorry about that. But it's the only thing I can think funny to say about that picture. That not that it needed me to say anything.
I think that AI may have had a little bit of a
bit, yeah, I think so. A bit of overdrive on there.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you very much for sending this a picture, Donald. I really still don't understand the context of it. But anyway, thank you.
Pig Mobile.
Pig Mobile. Over to you, little people. Please, Tammy.
Little people, yep. I don't know what to say about it this week because you made me laugh last week. So.
I'm not going to... No.
Do you ever know what all the buttons are for on the remote control for the telly?
Not always, no, actually. Oh, is that what they're for?
Hot plates.
I see.
On plates. There you go.
Good. That is good. As it always is. Miniature-calendar.com. New picture every day. Tammy picks one up for us. So it looks like...
Sushi.
Sushi, yeah. So obviously this is a Japanese website, isn't it? So that would make sense.
Our
Sushi
chef. Our TV remote's just got crumbs on it, crisp crumbs.
I think. Well, speak for yourself. Mine hasn't. Mine's got fruit juice.
Mine's only got about 3 buttons on it. So.
Oh yeah, well you talk to yours, don't you?
Yeah.
I have to press the buttons. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for sharing that, Tammy. So as always, do keep in touch with what you're doing. I'm so pleased that so many of you sent us details. In fact, we're going to hold one over till next week or next time we meet. So thank you very much for doing that. You can always send us information for NARC Live in whatever you'd like us to talk about and show pictures and everything by emailing us at this address, radio@dcpmicro.com. We look forward to hearing from you. If you could send it by 3 o'clock on the day of next NARC Live, which will be 2 weeks today, that would be great as well. Now we get on to that competition that we set just last week. We've met 2 weeks on the run now. And we showed you this picture and said, what on earth is this? I'm just having a look. There's quite a few different messages here, but I'm trying to see, has anybody entered one of those? No, I don't think so. Have you? Oh, it could. John20TWQ says, could be a drink can top. Is there another one?
There is another one. It's not on that screen though. Oh, yeah, there it is.
We've got lots of messages. Oh, yes. Mike, G8EY says, it's what Canford Audio, they're a great audio supplier, would probably list as a ring pull torque amplifier tool for pressurized beverage storage containers. What can he be saying? Bruce G4 KZT says, I think this may be a fizzy drink can sealer.
Steve G3EVA, this week's object is a device for opening cans with a ring pull, excellent for people with arthritis.
Tom G8XQD says this looks like a tool for opening a can, brackets of beer, question mark, when all the fingernails are lost.
Andy M1NER, it's a can opener.
Martin G6WNN, I think the current What on Earth is an easy can opener, a very simple device to open cans of drink without hassle, broken fingernails, etc.
Bob G6PWS, I think and know that it's a lazy man's can opener. Saves breaking nails on canned drinks.
And Colin M0GMK says, this week's object is a useful tool for opening ring pull beer cans without breaking my fingernails. It probably works on other drink cans as well. Yes, I think we've had hints of those as well.
So what do you think it is?
Well, I mean, there's quite a pretty good consensus this week, isn't it? It's not always like this. But I think there's enough people that say it is.
It is a can opener and sealer.
Brilliant. I haven't seen one though. Would you have known what it was?
No, I don't think so.
I might have worked it out, I suppose.
I think I might have seen something like that before. I bought years ago from some like country fair show or something. It's a cool little thing that you basically put over the top of a can, and then it's got a screw top on it.
Mm.
It doesn't obviously open the can, but it stops any flies and wasps and stuff going in the can. So it converts your can into a bottle, basically.
Very good, yeah.
Fits over nicely.
Very useful.
But I've never seen them since. But
we always get useful gadgets at those shows, don't we?
You do, yeah.
So would that be a good cue to say to people, if you've got a good other useful can or gadget or something like that you picked up at a show like that, let us have a picture, like Richard did here. Richard G0VCW sent us that picture. Thank you, Richard.
Was it like when you used to go in like some shops that you always had these DVDs playing and everything was useful?
Yes.
Wasn't it?
Well, there was a thing as well way back, probably before you were born. Ronco and people like that, and KTEL. Do you remember those names? Do you ever heard of those?
KTEL maybe.
Some people will
It's
be watching this
JML,
who
I
might be
think,
older.
was-
Yeah, JML. Well, JML are the modern equivalent, I'd say, of that, and they have useful gadgets and things that somebody's invented and wants to change the world with, and some of them are pretty good.
Anyway, we're getting off topic now.
We are. A record cleaner, I remember Ronco having a record cleaner for cleaning records. Probably not greatly useful now, although they're coming back.
They are.
Anyway, we're
Do you
moving on.
want to see what next week's time is?
I think we ought to.
Have we got 2 weeks for this time?
Yeah, we've got 2 weeks for this.
Okay.
You've got 2 weeks to tell us what on earth is this for, or this. Uh-huh. What do you think that is?
No clues.
No, nothing. Not allowed. If you know what that is, am I allowed to say the person,
No.
the context of the person, what they bought it in?
No.
That wouldn't help.
No, you're not allowed to say anything.
All right, I'll tell them next week. Okay, that's your puzzle. You've got just under 2 weeks to send us the details of what you think that is or what it's for. Send it to radio@dcpmicro.com. Now, we're shortly going to tell you what's happening at the club this week, but I did see a note, actually, by Steve, G0KYA, who, as you know, I'm sure is our antenna guru and has done many end-fed half-waves himself. And he has put a note on BATC, so I'm saying this as much for people watching on Facebook as BATC. He has said a T200 toroid is not ideal for a multi-band end-fed half-wave, better with a 43 type toroid, e.g. an FT200-43. I hope that helps. So maybe that's aimed at you, Tom, and anybody else. So I know you got great results, but maybe this would help you even more. So a T200 toroid is not ideal for a multi-band end-fed half-wave. Better off with a 43 type toroid, like an FT200-43.
I'll just pop that into the Facebook comments so people can actually read
Good
it as
idea.
well.
Yeah. All right. So thanks very much for that feedback, Steve. So a quick look then at what's happening at the club this week. Obviously a few things rested for the summer, but on Sunday we have the GB2RS news on GB3MB at 7 p.m. And then next Wednesday, the 20th of August, we're back meeting in person at the CNS school for a social informal meeting. And of course that very popular show and share table where you can take anything that you don't want anymore, you just want to find a good new home for it. Nearly every week the stuff goes. I'm amazed how popular that is. So if you haven't been in the club for a while, if you've got anything that you just want to give away, basically, put it on that table and you'll be amazed that it will probably disappear by the end of the evening. So that's there between 7 and 9:30 next Wednesday night. And of course, as I said, please do keep in touch with us with your pictures, your news, and all of the other things you'll be doing in the summer, like many of you did this week. Thank you. And of course, we have this card, which we're always happy to send anybody you wish who'll be cheered by a card from Norfolk Amateur Radio Club. Just send us an email. We'll add your name to ours and send them off. Now, I'm pleased to say that we're going to meet tonight's guest. I don't know too much about this, really. I looked on his QRZ page, and it's the most comprehensive QRZ page I've ever seen. So if you look up Bill W5SJ on his QRZ page, you'll see loads of information. But don't do it right now, because we're going to meet the man himself. Good evening to Bill.
Good evening to all of you. And first, let me pass along my condolences at the loss of Nev, M0NFY. I have several friends that I've lost in the last year or so, and the kind of friendships that we forge in amateur radio are uh, incredible in and of themselves. But just to lose a good friend is really tough, and my heart goes out to all of you.
Thank you very much, Bill.
Thank you. Yes, sir, indeed.
Thank you.
David
Thank you.
and Tammy, yes, thank you both for, and all the club. Roger, who first, I guess, reached out to me a little over a year ago and asked if I would be available. And I just think this is incredible to be able to reach across the pond and share some of my experiences with you. So I'm
Well, we're
happy to
looking
be
forward
here.
to it. Just before you start, Bill, just a reminder to
Yes,
everybody
sir.
at home, I'm pretty sure everybody knows now, but if you do have any questions or comments for Bill, then please pop them onto either BATC or onto Facebook while he's doing his talk, and then I'll be sure to read them to him straight at the end. But now, Bill, over to you for your presentation.
Okay, terrific. That's great. Yeah, let me get through this because there's a lot of material here, and uh, if I get to going too fast, please tell me to slow down. Uh, but anyway, here's a look at W5SJ, and I like to call this the accidental contester. Why? Because I'm really a DXer. That's how I got started. The hobby that I began so many years ago. But we will be talking about the accidental contester from flop to first. Now, in presentations where I'm able to sit with the audience, it's usually participatory to the extent where I let you make the judgment if I was a flop or if I was among the first. I don't know how we would do that tonight unless everybody released their mute and we all spoke at once. But I think we have the risk, perhaps, of a dog or a telephone or something else going on in the background. So we'll forego that for tonight. But at least it'll give you an idea of how it is when I have a live audience in front of me, because we have a lot of fun with this, as you will see, I hope. So who is this little boy? This is WN5KGJ in 1955. Yes, I've been licensed 70 years. Is that right? Oh, yeah, or so. Coming up, or this was my 70th year. So this is, I like to call this the wet noodle and a 5 watts. So this lash up was used in my novice days. The receiver in the upper left is an old Silvertone that had no BFO, but the monster behind me is a Zenith console, and my Elmer showed me how we could wrap the antenna wires around each other and create a beat. So I was able to use this fairly effectively and get on the air and operate. But my first contest was a little what we call the novice roundup over here. I don't even know that they have that anymore. But uh, with this rig and with my inexperience, uh, I have to say, was it a first or a flop? No, it was a flop. I maybe made 3 contacts, and but it was a nice exposure to contesting. So here's what it looks like in color. I've had this done for my QSL. So any of you that I have the fortune to be able to contact on the air, if you like a QSL, this is what I would send along to you. But I did go after years and years in 1972 with a dear friend, K5BOC, and I were at a little Honey Grove, Texas, down in North Texas for the ARL contest. And first or flop, well, I don't really remember. And then CQ Worldwide in 1982 from N5AU. This is a station near Dallas, and I was living in Dallas at the time and was invited to join with Stan K5GO on 40 meters. And this was one of the most incredible contest stations, and for this early exposure was amazing to see. like 25 towers, stacks of beams, 3 over 3 on 40 meters. So we were able to get out pretty effectively. But again, a first or a flop, I'm sorry, I don't remember. It's been a long time, and I just don't remember. But it was a great fun. But then later, I had an opportunity through Dennis N7BV, who some of you may remember was the sales manager for years at Yesu. And he had been to Fernando de Noronha. And I asked him about it. And he says, well, I'll recommend you that you are able to go down there and operate the station and be on a contest. So I did. The 2003 CQ Worldwide CW, a single operator. So this was the really first time that I got exposed to big time contesting. And it was the top band 160 meter contest. But here was my host, Andre Sampao, PY0FF, who probably many of you have worked over the years. And what a great guy. And unfortunately, a silent key. But he was able to help me with the station of PR0 Foxtrot. So here's his antenna farm that was also magnificent. But for 160, he sent one of his employees up to the top of one of these towers, and we had a sloping dipole aimed toward Europe that amazingly not only transmitted very well, but it heard very well. I had very, very little noise at this location on top band. So here we are slugging along, operating in his wonderful contest station. And I had brought him some Texas memorabilia from the Dallas Cowboys American football team, and which I shared with Andre in his shack. So here's how we did. This was the 2003 top band CW CQ Worldwide. And I was single operator, high power, scored 530,000 points. It was first in South America, and I cracked the top 10 by getting 9th in the world. Some of you may have worked Nodir, Echo Yankee 8, Mexico. I had never talked to him, but I remember in this contest, I worked him, and then several hours later, he called me again. And I said, as you would, worked before. And so he said, okay, 73. And he sent me an email the next day, and he said it was 8 o'clock in the morning and you were 20 dB over 9. So I just had to come back in and work you a second time. But that's the mystery of sometimes of top band 160 meters. It can really be something. First or flop? I'll make that your call. I'd be happy to have a top 10 anytime I'm in a contest, that's for sure. Well, here's my friend K5BOC. This is not a very good picture, but once again, we're back together at a field day in 2010. And I put this in here so at the bottom of the screen, perhaps you can see he's a lefty and I'm a righty. And we were so in tune with each other that we're sending every other letter we're sending. So, and we could actually make it sound okay, amazingly. So he's another good friend who's now a silent key. So we had 2 sets of paddles. It was fun, but it was a flop. But that's okay. This is my Elmer W5 Uniform Quebec. And Bob, you may recognize him for the last probably 12 years. He was the distributor of SPE linears in North and South America. And I think he went to Friedrichshafen several times. So some of you who may have attended that DX program or Hamfest on the continent would know and have met Bob. But we had a lot of fun and we were there for the 6-meter contest. I was going to operate solo, but we did have a very nice antenna from M Squared, the 6M7 JHV. So I was really looking forward to a good score on 6 meters. Here's what it looked like with the TA-33 that was there. So you can see the top antenna is the 6 meter, and it was magnificent. But unfortunately, in the CQ, I'm calling CQ, 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 and anyone there? It was an absolute, the contest was a flop. All of the signals I heard actually came after the contest. So this was in 2012, very low score, clearly a flop. But it was a beautiful stay. And of course, I always have a great time with my Elmer after all these many, many years after he helped get me on the air first. Am I going too fast? Is this about right?
It's fine, Bill.
Okay,
Thank
very
you.
well.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. But what I say, this is a flop big time. Now I'm going to play some video here for you at the next contest we went to. And I had to show this because of how extraordinary this landing strip is. As you can see, there wasn't a lot of runway left, but this was the island of Saba in the Caribbean. Uh, so as PJ6A, we were to operate the ARLDX contest in 2019. And this was with the operators of K4UEE, WC4X, NM1Y, and myself. And Bob and I, you know, K4UEE is a famous name in DX circles. He and I had been friends since 2000 when I was involved in the Lone Star DX Association down in Texas, and it had him come to speak to us there in Dallas. But we did operate here in 2019, multi-single, low power. So here we are, the Fabulous Four, and we had a great time. We always have a contest planning session that maybe involves alcohol a little bit, and so here the four of us are getting ready for the big game. And so here was our effort, and actually we were first for our division of multi-single and low power. This call, V31 Tango, will come up because it's operated by some friends of ours. And believe me, we had more fun poking it to them when we beat them. So, and this was not by a big margin, as you can see, but a lot of fun. First or flop? Hey, let's call that one a first because we were in first place in our division. Next up came the 2020 ARL contest. Same group of miscreants, for this time from Little Cayman Island in the Cayman Islands, with my friend K5GO, who you may recall it was with me in the 40-meter contest or the ARL contest from Texas at N5AU. So it was the three of us this time, all at this wonderful little place that he has there in Cayman Brac. Multi-single low power. There's the trio, and I had my little Elecraft KX3 with me, and it was such fun to just get right back over the ocean and with a small top-loaded 40-meter vertical and work the world with that little 5-watt or 10-watt radio. Lots of fun. So here we are again with a very intense scheduling and planning session as to when we're going to operate and how. And Stan took us on a tour of the island where we could see everything. And we always had a dinner Friday night before the contest with Stan and his wife Rita, and at the dive club there on Cayman Brag. So we would finish dinner, and Stan would rush off to make sure we could start at us at 01 or at midnight, which down there was like 7 o'clock or 5 o'clock at night. So we needed to move, but it was a beautiful spot. So here we are with his two stations. Actually, we're multi-single, but we would use the rig on the right for spotting and working a multiplier. So we'd switch over to that rig and never use them both at the same time. And there's Bob in the operator chair. And here's how we did the first time down there together. Our scores are getting better now. We're up to 4 million, and our competitors over at Belize are still behind us by this time 120,000 points. So first or flop, once again, score this one up first because we won for our category. And so here's Stan and Rita saying fond farewell to us as we took off to wait till next year. So along came COVID. So they operated all remotely from down there in 2021. But we were back for the contest in 2022. This time, Stan's son, N5DX, another world-class contester, operated to give us a little relief remotely. And I didn't show you a picture of their wonderful little shack down there, which is certainly no shack. But Stan it designs antennas, and these are two of his tri-band Yagis of his own design. Instead of always going out, I cooked pasta one night, and they all survived it. So I guess it was okay. But we had a good time socially as well as having a good time on the radio. And that included going to the Star Island restaurant each morning at 10 o'clock before the contest ever started and having these wonderful, wonderful little jelly-filled rolls that were addictive for sure. Stan had been requested to put up tower lights by the local government there, so I had brought them down to him in my luggage, and so he's up there securing those lights, which fit the bill and satisfied the government. But we did relax a little bit, and I had this time a 14 AVQ out right in the surf, where it was clearly. Well, let's see. Let's go. I can see that. What did I do?
We saw a bit of video there, I think, Bill.
There we go. I think you all can see that that's not a bad place to be for a D expedition or a DX contest. But I did have a little time to operate the Elecraft KX3, and just great fun. I'm going to let you tune into one. This is a 40-meter contact. Okay, so that was JH1 HDT, an 8,000-mile path on 40 meters with 5 watts and a vertical stuck in the surf. Just amazing what our little radios can do. Stan again took us on a little tour of the island, and then later, as you can see, a very intense contest planning, scheduling, preparation. We are about to be ready. But we had to go to the barbecue again, so off we went to enjoy that before we got started. Stan went back to get things rolling, and we once again had a great time with the four of us, one remote, one of us operating, or three of us operating on site. And at the conclusion of our contest, we scored a gross score of 6 million points this time, after the 4 million point from the last time. But this will give you a little breakdown of where the signals were. We're very, and this was 22, so just absolutely a great peak for the higher bands. So 10 meters was really good, and you can see how many sections we got for this contest. So how'd we do? Multi-single, low power. Our net points were 5,000,008. A new world record. So we are very, very, and I think rightly so, proud of this one. And the most fun in it was seeing the smile on Stan's face, because he likes to be a winner. This was 2023 now. So, I missed the score. Stan got a new tower. He got some 45, Ron 45, to put up an even bigger tribander of his design. And we'll see that here shortly. But I was around as we were getting ready for the contest to be some help, but mostly I relaxed. And once again, it's hard not to relax when you're in this part of the world. That Stan's 40-meter vertical. And Stan was trying a new antenna of his own design, and it was not exactly a huge success. Had to show you this one. Very frequently, the dive boats will be just offshore at Stan's place. They've got buoys out there so they can make this a permanent spot. So this is Stan doing some work on the Ballon on his first tower. He's still climbing. I don't know about you guys. I don't climb anymore. I'll be 84 next week, and my climbing days are over. Here's another intense contest planning session. You can tell we're going to do great. Plus, we had great pizza. So off we go. Once again, operating with four of us. And I'm really proud of this. Again, I'm not the world's greatest contester, but at one time I had a rate there. If you'll notice on the left, I was running at a rate of 281 Qs an hour. So that's about 5 a minute. So it's about as fast as I can go. I was very pleased with that. Yes, I was. So here's what Stan, a truly world record type operator, sounds like at the end of the contest at 2350. Oh, well, you get the idea. So here we are. We've netted out 5.2 million here. And again, 10 meters was just absolutely spectacular for this. First or flop, we scored another first. And we're, again, got the guys at V31 Tango by 400,000 points this time. Last year when I never did show you the results of the world record, but we were 60,000 points over them there. So anyway, always fun, especially since there were 7 of them and only 3 of us. So it's something. Had to show you this. They show a public beach access. You've seen the shore there. You can imagine how public that is. There's no ingress or egress. So I don't know why the government put up public beach access, because that does not exist. But hey, it's the islands, man. You got to expect it. So we're working on this again, getting it all ready. Sorry for the out of focus photo. I'll show you the picture from next year here shortly. That same year, we went to V26B, and this is where we got for the oh, good grief, what is the contest in May? I'm having a blank. I'll get it in a minute. But we were at V26 in May, and this time we had multi-single with high power, and these two guys on the left are the villains at V31 Tango. So this time we got together because we're all good friends. We've been to the South Pacific together and on two different expeditions, to one to TX5 and one to TX7 Tango. So we are good friends and friendly competitors. But we had a lot of fun here at V26MJ. We scored it, and this was our, oh, that's right, CQ WPX. And we scored 16 million points, which were number one for the DXpedition score. But at that station, how could you miss? So we really had a great time. Good guys. But to relax a little bit, we ran down to Montserrat to wind down a little bit and got some VP2M calls. And so we went to the volcano there, and which is still percolating, and had a nice little setup, but a little bit different than what we were used to. How about those sophisticated antennas? A 12 meter dipole, a 17 meter dipole, and we still had a great time. What the heck? It was great. So 2024, we had 4 of us, 1 remote, and 3 of us this time, since we lost K4UEE. My dear friend Bob, he was a silent key, as some of you may know. So there's Bill, the new addition to our team. And so we're on the air with a total score in 24 of 5 million points. We did it again. Beat those whoops, I better not say that. Those guys from V31 Tango by a mere, what is it, 72,006. But it's a lot closer. First or flop? Hey guys, we got to take a first, because it was first for our division again. Then we had to watch for Hurricane Raphael, who came through in November of 24. And fortunately, only a few elements bent out of place there on Stan's homemade tribander. So again, in 2005, this year, we had a little bit bigger team, but this time we went multi with high power. So we're operating at any given time. We had 4 radios going, and so we're in a whole different world here. And the competition, as some of you may recall, stations like PJ2 Tango would turn out to be the main competitor for us. So here we are with 2 transmitters, 2 operators. There's Bill and Stan, and then I'm standing at one of the other spots. And we scored 9 million points here, multi, and we beat the big guys, the guns at PJ2 Tango by 1.2 million points. So we were really pleased with this. It was first by a long shot for that division. So I've zoomed through this, and we'd love to have some questions. I think I only took about 30 minutes, so that's a record for this talker. So I want to thank the Norfolk ARC and David and Tammy and Roger, and Stan and I wish you 73. Be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Bill. Very comprehensive talk, and I think we now know for sure why you call this accidental contester, because that's clearly what you are. So this is an opportunity, by the way, for everybody at home now to ask questions, make comments, or anything that you've seen on Bill, or maybe your own feelings about contesting. Maybe you only got into contesting later in life. or later in your hobby life at least, as
Yep.
Bill did, found it really quite late. We are, by the way, Bill, quite a strong club in contesting. So let us know what you think, either on Facebook or on BATC, and we'll be sure to read those responses to Bill. It seems to me that, dare I say this, that beers are quite an important part of your most of your contesting stations. I don't think I saw any without a bottle of beer there.
Well, pre and post.
Yes. So does it help you prepare, or is a vital part of your contest work?
It's absolutely mandatory. Yeah, we have a good time and enjoy a brew now and then. So and Bob K4UEE loved his scotch, so we would certainly celebrate after the contest, because normally by about 30 minutes after the contest was over, we knew basically what our scores were relative to everyone else, and so clearly we would celebrate after beating our buddies that tried so hard to get us from Belize, but they never did. We beat them every time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. I mean, a lot of our members are interested, but there's also quite a few who don't really do contesting as such. But I think a lot of contesters do say it's a great way of testing your station or testing your latest antennas and things, as well as the actual taking part and giving your club some points. It can be a great way of finding out how good your station is.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more. And the people who, like Stan here, who take the time and the money to just constantly be tweaking and trying to improve, the results then speak for themselves. And he's been very successful with it. And likewise, just for us operating at home, to participate, and we can see how we are doing, especially with the remote beacon network these days. It'll tell you your relative signal and how you're getting to many different stations, and that's been a real help, I think, for us, not only studying propagation, but again seeing how our stations are operating.
Yeah, but it isn't always the big stations. I've noticed you with quite a few of the big transceivers and things. But also I saw you with the KX3 on the beach. That sounded wonderful and looked wonderful. So it's not always about power and the biggest stations, is it?
And absolutely, you're right. And that's the real challenge to me. But to be over the salt water like that adds at least 3 dB to whatever you're doing. And I did work this last time in February. I had a lot of time. I was there 4 days in advance of the contest, and so I was working 10 meters, 15 meters. I had a really good pileups into Europe on 10 meters. So you don't need a lot of power.
Oh, that's a very good point. What's your tip, really, overriding tip? You've given us how you got into contesting. Fairly later on, really, in your amateur life. What's your biggest tip for somebody who's maybe in a similar position to you, have always done amateur radio for many, many years, but never really found that contesting is for them? What's the biggest drive, do you think? What's the biggest single reason?
David, I think getting to know Bob very well back in 2000, and we entertained at the Lone Star DX Association. And in fact, I was president at the time. And some way, somehow, I convinced Marty, OH2BH, to come speak to our club rather than go to Dayton. I mean, I consider that a great coup.
Yeah.
And he did. He came down in 2000, and he started talking about some of the contesting that he had done from his contest stations. And then also at that same convention there in Dallas, Dennis N7BV was kind of the PR guy for Marty in his quest for the World Radio Team Championship, which was coming up in Finland. And that's why I was just flabbergasted that he would come to see us rather than Dayton. but we were able to save. I think somebody gave him $10,000 at that convention, so that helped. But between he and Dennis, and they told me uh, about Fernando de Noronha, and I'd always been intrigued with that little archipelago, out off the coast of Brazil, and so between him and PY1RO, who I went to stay with in Rio that same time, it was so inspirational. I thought, I'm going to be able to go to a world-class station, walk in the door, sit down, and just operate. And I said, that's an opportunity I've got to try. And I learned a lot because I was, flying solo. But and so that between that and getting to know Bob and being asked to go on his various adventures got me started in contesting.
Yeah, well, thank you, Bill. I mean, that is the thing, isn't it? It's about the people as well you meet. I will admit I'm not the biggest contester, but then probably I don't get much time to do any radio, really, if I'm honest, with spending quite a lot of time helping to run this club. But, I know that the friendships that you forge through this hobby are significant, and especially, and you can have the sort of adventures that you've had with your contest stations. It's really inspirational.
Yeah, thank you.
So we really want to thank you very much for tonight's talk. I haven't had any other specific questions than what I've just asked, really, from anybody. So thank you very much for tonight's talk, and really appreciate it. And also, of course, I did note down here you're going to be 84 next week. So I'm glad you're not climbing towers, but do keep up the hobby and keep inspiring others with your wonderful adventures.
Thanks, David. Thanks to all of you in the club, and my email is on my QRZ page. So if anybody has any questions after this, by all means, fire me a shot and I'll respond quickly.
Well,
thanks again.
I'm sure they will. Yeah, and also your QRZ page, as I said at the beginning, is a real wonder of the history and the story of how you got into radio and what you do with it. So it's a great place to look anyway. Thank you ever so much, Bill.
Okay. Thank you. Have a pleasant night. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. There we are, NARC Live, contesting. We often hear people say, oh, you must do contesting, give the club some points. But actually, as Bill has shown, there's so much he's got from that, both operationally with his equipment and things, but also, for himself and making new friends and stuff like that. So really good, and it was really lovely to have Bill on tonight. That just about brings us to the end of the programme. So a reminder of what's happening to NARC in the next week. On Sunday, it's the GB2RS News from the RSGB at 7 o'clock. And then next Wednesday, the 20th of August, a week from tonight, we're back meeting in person at CNS School for a social informal and, of course, that show and share table that I mentioned earlier on. Then we're back here again in 2 weeks' time. Until then, please keep us in details with all of your local news, the things you've been doing, your holidays and all of the other stuff and the projects that you've been doing. And we'll be happy to share them on the next NARC Live. Until then, though, from Tammy M0TC.
Bye-bye.
And from me, David G7URP. Take care of yourselves. Look after each other. Bye-bye.